Hi everybody, this is David Horton, Mayor of the City of Radford, and I'm coming to you today to share some proclamations with you. You know, one of our big challenges right now is a lot of the things that we considered normal have gone by the wayside during the COVID-19 situation. And one of our goals on City Council was to try to reinstitute a little bit of normal if we can. One of the challenges that we have is that we are not currently meeting in a physical location at this time. We're meeting electronically by video, by Zoom, streaming online, and trying to present you with as much transparency as possible for your local government. But we did find a way that we could bring you some proclamations to recognize important weeks, to celebrate and enhance things in the city of Radford. And so two of my fellow council members and I have put together some videos, and we'll be sharing those with you in just a few moments. First, we will declare April Environmental Awareness Month, and we will have a recognition of Earth Day by Mrs. Foster, and a recognition of Arbor Day. I'll be back to do that one. Then we have National Library Week. We couldn't allow that to go by. We love our Radford Public Library so much that we just had to make sure we recognize National Library Week. Dr. Harshberger, our Vice Mayor, will present that for you. Then we have National Crime Victims' Rights Week, a very important piece of our criminal justice process, and I'll be back to present that one. Mrs. Foster will present National Animal Control Officer Appreciation Week. And what would we do without Adele and Stephanie? And we are so thankful for them. We definitely want to recognize their hard work and efforts. And then finally, Dr. Harshberger will be back with National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. Our 911 dispatch officers are folks who help us in times of crisis and keep things moving for the city. We are so appreciative of all. This is a proclamation that establishes April 2020 as Environmental Awareness Month in the city of Radford. Whereas various organizations and citizens show concern for the Earth's environment, and whereas the problems of the Earth's environment affect all the citizens of Radford, as well as the entire population of the planet, and whereas the City of Radford encourages Radford citizens to participate in global appreciation of the Earth through educational programs, special projects, demonstration, cultural events, lectures, cleanup activities, and the like, now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Radford does hereby designate the month of April 2020 as Environmental Awareness Month and calls on all citizens of Radford to support, recognize, and appreciate the importance of participating in this special month.
Hi, I'm Councilwoman Jessie Foster, and today I'm going to be reading the proclamation dated April 22nd, 2020, Earth Day. Whereas April 22nd, 2020 is recognized as National Earth Day, and whereas a sound natural environment is the foundation of a healthy society and a robust economy, and whereas there are sound economic, environmental, and social reasons for local governments to initiate energy efficient and renewable energy practices, and whereas the City of Radford encourages and endorses participation in events supporting Earth Day. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Radford does hereby proclaim the day of April 22nd, 2020 as Earth Day, and does hereby acknowledge all of our citizens to participate in the ongoing efforts to recycle, reduce, and reuse, as well as other activities which promote a healthy environment and a sustainable society.
This is a proclamation establishing Arbor Day on April the 24th in the city of Radford. Whereas in 1872, a special day was set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees, and whereas 2020 is the 148th anniversary of the holiday, and Arbor Day is now observed through the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and beautify our community, and whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal, and whereas the City of Radford established the Commission for Beautification and Municipal Forests to enhance and maintain the health and vitality of the community's urban landscape, whereas the City of Radford's commitment to the preservation and propagation of trees within the community has been demonstrated over many years and recognized by the National Arbor Day Foundation through the designation of Radford as a Tree City USA community again this year, the 7th anniversary of our initial designation. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Radford does hereby proclaim April the 24th, 2020 as the 148th anniversary celebration of Arbor Day in the city of Radford, Virginia, and joins with the Radford Commission for Beautification and Municipal Forests to urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to beautify and protect our trees and woodlands, and further urges all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations.
City of Radford Proclamation, National Library Week 2020. Whereas libraries have historically served as our nation's great equalizers of knowledge by providing free access to all. And whereas libraries work to meet the changing needs of their users, including building collections, expanding outreach services, and increasing programming. And whereas libraries have long served as trusted and treasured institutions, and library workers and librarians fuel efforts to better their communities, campuses, and schools. And whereas our nation's libraries provide a forum for diverse ideas and points of view that help us better understand each other and ourselves. And whereas libraries and librarians are looking beyond their traditional roles and providing more opportunities for community engagement and delivering new services that connect closely with patrons' needs. And whereas librarians are trained professionals helping people of all ages and backgrounds find and interpret the information they need to live, learn, and work in a challenging economy. And whereas librarians are part of the American dream, places for education, opportunity, and lifelong learning. And whereas libraries, librarians, library workers, and supporters across America are celebrating National Library Week. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Radford do hereby proclaim April 19th through the 25th, 2020 as National Library Week, and encourage all residents to visit the library this week to take advantage of the wonderful library resources available at your Radford Public Library. City of Radford, Virginia, signed David Horton, Mayor.
We do want to take a moment with a proclamation to recognize April 19th through the 25th as National Crime Victims Week. Whereas in 1982, the President's Task Force on Victims of Crime envisioned a national commitment to a more equitable and supportive response to victims, whereas this commemorative week celebrates the energy, perseverance, and commitment that launched the victims' rights movement, inspired its progress, and continues to advance the cause of justice for crime victims. Whereas crime can leave a lasting impact on any person regardless of age, national origin, race, creed, religion, gender, sexual orientation, immigration, or economic status. Whereas incorporating communities' existing experts and trusted sources of support into efforts to fully serve survivors will develop a criminal justice system response that is truly accessible and appropriate for all victims of crime. Whereas the unwavering support of their communities and victim service providers behind them, survivors will be empowered to face their grief, loss, fear, anger, and hope without fear of judgment, and will feel understood, heard, and respected. Whereas serving victims and rebuilding their trust restores hope to victims and survivors, as well as supports thriving communities. Whereas engaging a broader array of healthcare providers, community leaders, faith organizations, educators, and businesses can provide new links between victims and services that improve their safety, healing, and access to justice. Whereas honoring the rights of victims, including the right to be heard and to be treated with fairness, dignity, and respect, and working to meet their needs, rebuilds their trust in the criminal justice and social service systems. Whereas National Crime Victims' Rights Week provides an opportunity to recommit to ensuring that all victims of crime, especially those who are challenging to reach or serve, are offered culturally and linguistically accessible and appropriate services in the aftermath of crime. And whereas Radford is hereby dedicated to strengthening victims and survivors in the aftermath of crime, building resilience in our communities and our victim responders, and working for a better future for all victims and survivors, now therefore, the City Council of the City of Radford does hereby proclaim the week of April 19th through the 25th, 2020, as Crime Victims' Rights Week, and expresses our sincere gratitude for those victims and crime survivors who have turned personal tragedy into a motivating force to improve our response to victims of crime and build a more just community, and further express our appreciation for those community members, victim service providers, and criminal justice professionals who are committed to improving our response to all victims of crime so that they may find relevant assistance, support, justice, and peace.
Hi, this is Councilwoman Jessie Foster, and I'm going to be reading the proclamation for Animal Control Officer Appreciation Week. Whereas the National Animal Care and Control Association, NACA, is committed to setting the standard of professionalism in animal welfare and public safety through training, networking, and advocacy. And whereas NACA has designated the second week of April each year as Animal Control Officer Appreciation Week. And whereas animal control officers dedicate their lives to the health and safety of at-risk, helpless animals, and to the protection of the citizens in the community. And whereas animal control officers respond to calls for service to protect the welfare of helpless animals and pets and rescue them from injury, disease, abuse, and starvation. And whereas animal control officers provide essential community functions, including the enforcement of animal control laws, protecting the public from diseases such as rabies, and educating the public on the proper care of the community's pets. And whereas federal, state, and local governments throughout the country take this time to recognize, thank, and commend all animal control officers for their dedicated service that they provide to the citizens of the Commonwealth. And whereas the Commonwealth of Virginia recognizes and commends animal control officers for the many dedicated and long hours of service they perform in serving Virginia, and for the fulfilling the commitment to providing the highest and most efficient level of customer service. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Radford City Council that the week of April 13th through 18th, 2020 is recognized as Animal Control Officers Appreciation Week in Radford, and be it further proclaimed that the Radford City Council extends its gratitude and appreciation to Radford's animal control officers for their continued dedication and professional assistance to the citizens of the City of Radford. Thank you so much for all you do.
City of Radford Proclamation, National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the City of Radford Emergency Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the City of Radford have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Now therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Radford declares the week of April 12th through the 18th, 2020, to be National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Radford, in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe. Signed, David Horton, Mayor.